women are over 50% of the population, it should be a given that you see 50% of your leadership positions filled with women.
The first female to ever hold the title of Knoxville's police chief is shining a light on women in our community. Earlier today, Eve Thomas was sworn in as the first female police chief in Knoxville's history. Now she's in a group with several other women who hold powerful positions in the community.
Yeah, tonight we're looking at some of those women and what it took to get to those positions they're at today.
The city of Knoxville made history on Thursday by appointing a female to become the next chief of police.
I, Eve Thomas, do solemnly swear.
Deputy Chief Eve Thomas started working for KPD back in 1993 and has held numerous positions.
I think this is a huge step for women and for the Knoxville community.
Ronnie Basden is the executive director for Girls Inc. of the Tennessee Valley. It's a nonprofit focused on empowering young women. She says Knoxville has so many women in key positions, including Mayor Madeline Rojero and now the chief of police, and this really opens a lot of doors.
This now gives an opportunity for young girls to see themselves in roles that they haven't been able to before. It gives them something tangible to look towards in their future. And
just last year, Renee McDermott became the first FBI female special agent in Knoxville, just to add to the list of high-profile females in the community.
Women should very much be at the table in the same conversations and helping make decisions.
And one of the people at that table is Lauren Ryder.
There were people who said they wouldn't vote for me because I was a woman.
Ryder is now a city councilwoman for the 4th District in Knoxville. She says it shouldn't be surprising to see females in these roles.
When women are over 50% of the population, it should be a given that you see 50% of your leadership positions filled with women.
Ryder says while it's great to have females in these positions, she still believes the most important thing is to have the best person in the role, whether it's a male or female.
And Eve Thomas will take over as Knoxville Police Chief at 12:01 on Monday morning.